You're listening to TurkishSoccer.com's Turkish Football and Turkish Super League podcast. Hello, everyone. My name is Ahmet Bob Turgut. Welcome to a brand new edition of Turkish Football Podcast. And this podcast is sponsored by SofaScore.com. And make sure to click on the link that I will give you on this podcast. So stay tuned for that. And also make sure to stay tuned for a lot of news. In 15 minutes, I will give you last-minute transfers, what happened, what shook the world with the latest transfers in Türkiye. And we'll talk about what happened in the week 4 this past weekend. And as you know, there's a national team break, international break. So we won't have any matches until September 15th. And we'll talk more about the national team and week 4 and what's going on with last-minute transfers in the Turkish Super League. So let's start with recapping what happened in the week 4. In the week 4, there were 24 goals scored. Another low-scoring weekend was. And three of the big teams from Istanbul won their matches. Fenerbahçe started week 4 on Friday, and they beat Alanyaspor 3-0. On Saturday, there were 4 matches, I believe. Konyaspor was at home, tied with Kayserispor 0-0. Rizespor at home lost to Kasımpaşa 1-0. Göztepe at home beat newcomer. Both of these teams are newcomer to the Turkish Super League. Göztepe won this match 2-0. And in Adana, the match of the weekend, as I mentioned to you last podcast, Galatasaray, after having from bad to worst time in the European competitions, eliminated from the Champions League, dropping to Europa League. They beat very young Adana Demirspor in Adana 5-1. Now, there were a lot of mistakes in this match by a 15-year-old goalkeeper, and we'll talk about that. But I think this was little morale for Galatasaray, but I think that morale is not going to help them because they spent, and they're still spending a lot of money bringing big top names. And then while they're bringing their names, big names to the club, they're losing some of their own to other clubs. Well, I'm going to talk about that in the transfer headlines. And let's go on with the other matches. On Sunday, there were 4 matches. Başakşehir at home, another good team that started the league so far. Very good. They beat Antalyaspor. Antalyaspor's coached by Alex de Souza, former Fenerbahçe player. Başakşehir won this match 5-2. Eyüpspor at home tied with Trabzonspor, and after Trabzonspor losing this match and getting eliminated in the European competition from Conference League, their coach Abdullah Avcı is gone. He was sacked, and just yesterday, a day before, the former national team coach, former Beşiktaş coach, former Trabzonspor, he's back at Trabzon again for a 5th time. The 70 years old coach is back in Trabzon, will be coaching, but he's got a lot of problem because he needs a lot of players to do good things in Trabzon. In Hatayspor lost at home against Samsunspor 3-0. Beşiktaş at home beat Sivasspor 2-0, and Gaziantepspor had a bye in the week 4. As I've been telling you, every weekend you will have one team sit out because the league is with 19 teams. Now, after week 4 matches ended, and Fenerbahçe and Eyüpspor, they both have 7 points, and Fenerbahçe is in first place. Eyüpspor with 7 points, second place. There are 2 teams. Beşiktaş in third, and Galatasaray is in fourth place with 6 points. Now, Beşiktaş had a bye last weekend and then Galatasaray, because they had a European competition matches. That's why they have one game. So Fenerbahçe has one game in hand while they're sitting on top of Turkish Super League. On the bottom of the league, the 19th place Kayserispor with 0 points, and 18th place Adana Demirspor, along with 17th place Hatayspor and 16th place Trabzonspor. The Şenol Güneş's new team all have only 1 point. 15th place team Alanya with 2, and 14th place team with Kasımpaşa with 2 points. There are at least 5 teams with 3 points and 4 teams with 4 points. So early in the season, after week 4, things, because of the competition between the European competitions and Super League, now the Turkish Cup will kick in. They will have a busy schedule coming up after September. I could guarantee you that. Before we go into a National League matches for Türkiye, I want to talk about the biggest news. The transfer news hit the transfer websites all over the world. It was a surprise, very surprise, as I talked about this on England's #1 radio talk show, Talk Sports. And it surprised a lot of people too. And Galatasaray somehow end up with Osimhan on a loan from Napoli. Now, Osimhan, people call him Osimhan or Osman. So I know people in England call him Osimhan, and I'm going to go with that. But he is the biggest news right now. It was for at least yesterday. Now, it was Galatasaray fans had a roller coaster emotional days in this past 15 days because they lost the first match against the Young Boys, and then they came home. They lost that Young Boys match in Istanbul, and Galatasaray fans were furious because Galatasaray did not make it the Champions League for second year in a row. They were the champions of Türkiye for 2 years, but they could not go to the Champions League. Now they're desperate to do something in the Champions in the Europa League because they fell down to the Europa League. As a matter of fact, along with after Fenerbahçe dropped down to Euro League, Beşiktaş advanced after winning their match against Lugano in Istanbul. They advanced to Euro League. So we have 3 teams from Türkiye will be in the Europa League. So that's going to be something to see. There's only one team in Conference League. That is the Başakşehir. As I said, Trabzonspor will not be in any European competition. So the biggest news in the world, in Turkey, especially for fans of Galatasaray, from bad to worst, all of a sudden, the roller coaster motions for Galatasaray fan turned to great feeling when they heard Osimhan coming to Galatasaray from Napoli for on a loan deal for at least 1 year. But I'll talk about that a little bit more. But they're paying a lot of money. Now, besides Osimhan, they have Ismail Jacob. But here's the thing. They have lost their couple of good players. They also have too many foreigners on the team. Kerem Aktürkoğlu. As you know, I've been saying this in the beginning of this season. Kerem Aktürkoğlu want to leave Galatasaray, which he did. He went to Benfica. And I think with a price tag of $12 million, I think that's going to be a little bit money coming into Galatasaray. Sergio Oliveira. I think they lost money on this guy. After agreeing with him to release, and then pay him the money, close to $6 million. And then guess what? He turns around. He goes to Greece. Zaha. They lost Zaha. Tete. And Köln. And Ross. And Sergio Aurier. Leo Dubois. So it is Galatasaray right now, even though they got Osimhan and Jacob, they're still hurting big time in the midfield and defense because they just lost Köln. So they're trying to get some players. As you know, Turkish Football Federation extended the transfer time deadline until September 13th. They're working on some deals. Now, this Osimhan deal worked like this. I think Osimhan was not happy with Napoli president and the coach, and he was not on the roster for Napoli for this season. So his agent, he was mad at his agent, and he fired his agent, and he was dealing with Chelsea. But Chelsea, while he was dealing with Chelsea, and Galatasaray had their biggest agent that works for Galatasaray, brings in big top names, just like he brought Icardi for Galatasaray. George Gardi came in the scene with Galatasaray officials, made some calls, and somehow paying more than Chelsea on a loan, and they got Osimhan. Osimhan came in this past weekend to Türkiye in middle of the night. It was somewhere around 4 a.m. There were 3,000 people in the Istanbul airport. Galatasaray fans were happy that day. But today and yesterday, Wednesday and Thursday, Galatasaray fans are upright again because they know they need midfielder. And the officials of Galatasaray team are not successful to get some good name for the midfield. Because if they play two forwards along with Batshuayi and Osimhen until Icardi comes back, because Icardi injured, and what's going to happen up front. So might be a good thing to transfer Osimhen, but I think there's going to be a lot of unhappy players in that team in Galatasaray, if you ask me. Because Osimhen is only 25 years old, and his price tag, he is the highest player that came to Türkiye. His price tag is 100 million. Now, they dropped that down to 75 million. But still, Galatasaray can't buy him. And in mid-January window, watch Osimhen jumping to one of the big teams in England or somewhere in Europe, because I don't think Osimhen is going to stay 1 year with Galatasaray. Plus, after he signed contract with Galatasaray in Istanbul, he flew to Nigeria to be with Nigerian national team. He's going to play 2 matches there, and Galatasaray first match is going to be in September 15th. So, busy season between these national teams matches, a long traveling time, and let's hope none of those players gets hurt. If they do, then your plans are screwed. But let's talk about the Nations League for Türkiye. The first match will be happening tomorrow on Friday, which is actually today, Friday, and they will go to Wales. The first match against Wales. They'll come back to Türkiye on Monday 9th of September. They will host Iceland. In this group, League B, Group D, we have Group 4, Iceland, Montenegro, Türkiye, and we have Wales. So we will have the Week 5 in the Turkish Super Lig on September 15th starting. So listen to my podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. Also visit me on Twitter X at Turkish Soccer. And also please sponsor our sponsor, Soft score. Visit